Heretics get the grub. He's just in a 1v1 with the Void Monster, which is respectable, but now Zwyroo gonna push back onto Nisqy, knock up there from Dot, clean flash out from Zwyroo. Now he's gonna get the kill! Oh, we knew he was good at control mages, apparently Nisqy didn't! Look.
Look, go. Attack to me. We win.
Mega choke. Nice flash.
Nice.
Wait.
Nisqy wants to keep going for the push. Wunder there to body block, but the house!
And welcome back to the LEC for this elimination game between SK Gaming and Heretics, where SK Gaming takes the lead here in what was a game of all time, a game of League of Legends. You can feel the stress within these two teams, I feel. And this transpires to the draft, actually, because if you look, scaling all across the boards, for me it sounds like, guys, we know that we're going to mess up anyway. Might as well get something that's going to scale so that we can bounce back on our feet. What do you think of this draft?
Well, I thought I did not expect this from Team Heretics. For SK, totally expected what I saw. This is exactly what I saw they would come out with. But I thought the Team Heretics thought process would be, we know exactly what they want. Therefore, we're going to find tools to then dissect these picks, like the Zeri, all the things that would come out. But we didn't see that. We saw them try and match the scaling. We saw them say, well, we weren't really proactive in our series against BDS. So instead of changing that activity, we're just going to change our draft and stay low proactivity and scale into the game.
Yeah, and it's very different from what we saw even in the regular season, right? You see the Neeko ban out, but they used to play a lot of dive, you know, stuff like the Nocturne Neeko. Even recently, I much preferred on Saturday what they were drafting with the full early game compositions where, you know, they had so many more tools to play early, but it feels like what's happened is that failed. Let's default to scaling. It's the EU Classic.
Yeah, I mean, you want to save the situation, might as well go back to fundamentals and things easier to execute. I guess didn't pay off at all, though, but something that paid off for SK is the impact of Isma in the early game. Once again, this is something that we highlighted in Ready Check GB, and I love what he did here.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing the end of it here, right, where Jankos is getting spotted on a ward that Isma's already placed down when he stole the Raptors in the beginning. But it also just comes down to Team Heretics, once again, not jungle tracking. And I think Isma is probably one of the most early game junglers we have right now. So finding early vision to track him down is the most important thing. And in a scaling composition where you have here, where it's super important which carry get their item spike first, the fact that Isma already not only gets the entire bot side of Jankos, but also gets the vision of him and gets his own bot lane ahead at the same time, just immediately puts them in a way better position to go into the game for the first objectives.
But we do know that it's never over until the Nexus explodes here, Eragon for SK, because they've used us to some weird games, losing games that they're supposed to win. What did they do right here? How did they stay in the driver's seat?
Yeah, it does feel like certainly that their team fighting was just better. I think Team Heretics kind of choked the team fighting a little bit, especially in their ability to connect, specifically Azir Vi in that first team fight at Dragon, this one here. You really want to connect, because when you die with Vi, you don't just want to send her all in alone, right?
Look at the position. It's a Jinx and Renata in the middle of it all. There's no front to back. SK is coming in from every side of the map with a flying Azor.
Yeah, so Vi dove in, and then Zwyroo got caught up in Doss's charm, so he couldn't dive as well to get the wall and the shove. So it was just all super disconnected. In the end, everyone falls.
And I think it's like, it's so disappointing to see from Team Heretics. Like, I expect more of this team from what we saw in the regular season, from the caliber of players that they have. Trymbi being brought in for the voice that he does impact the team with. And then specifically when you are making plays around the bot side, that cohesion, it needs to be better for Team Heretics. And we've seen it be better as well. But I have not seen them play an actual game, at least it doesn't feel like it in playoffs yet. Against BDS, did not see them active. In their first game against SK here, it still doesn't feel like Team Heretics that I saw in regular season has played the game.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I just want to highlight, right, a player. It's not really any overarching point, but just shouting out Irrelevant in that isolated scaling pick where he does get the counter pick Gnar into the Cassante. Up 50 CS, absolutely, you know, destroying Wunder, getting first blood turret as well, and managing to carry that lead over into side lane too, with the vision that SK give him to side lane.
In this first game, it feels like SK have fixed, for now at least, the issues that we've pointed out earlier. Heretics, as you said, nothing. But it's do or die here, guys. If they lose this one, we don't see them until summer. And I'm just wondering if shifting the approach and going away from what made them good in regular season is what they want to do here. It looks messy, disjointed, and as I said, they need to turn it around now.
I completely agree. And, you know, to be fair, though, I think SK did have some good shutdowns at the beginning with the Nautilus pick, knowing that they want to go Zeri and just play through that. But as you said yourself earlier as well, Laure, despite SK having the lead that they got,
That was, yeah.
this also still happened, right? And the team fights did still get messy. So
Yeah.
even if you have those early game leads, you still need to close it out. And SK still struggled with that, which of course is still an avenue for Team Heretics should they find themselves in a position where they are ahead. But you look at the goal graph for this game, and that just never happened at all.
Yeah, I have to say, I do really want to see Trymbi on something more playmaking, right? Despite, you know, Nautilus being banned, you know, bring back the Thresh, bring back something like this, because he was so damn good at linking up with Jankos and playing through mid with Zwyroo as well. So that's a big adaptation I want to see.
Playing on red side here, on the side of Team Heretics, we'll see what it brings to them. It is do or die here for this team. SK in the driver's seat here after game one. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much. I, for one, am eager to see more team fights. And for Team Heretics to start, you know,
Fighting back.
throwing haymakers in the early game. Because this laughter, this energy, I like it. But I want to see that same passion in the play.
I think it's the same idea, though. I want to see them have something that doesn't tie Trymbi to bot lane. Because it feels like when we got to see them in their last series, it was the Alistair with the Varus, and because you had the opportunity to dive the Varus, he was tied to the bot lane.
Yep.
You come into this game, he gets the Renata, because you got the Jinx, there's an opportunity to play and dive him with the Rakan, so he's tied to bot lane. I want to see him on something that leaves Flakked to be a bit self-sufficient so he can actually start to get out on the map ready. Because in this game, DOS was actually able to get out and started to influence some of the early plays, especially when we got towards, say, that first dragon around River where they were able to catch Trymbi and Flakked out of position. So
yeah.
I think having that is so valuable when especially you have a team like Heretics.
And I wonder what the read is from Team Heretics on where they feel like the game truly went wrong. Oftentimes when you look back at a game, you're like, okay, it was this fight, it was this moment, it was this thing, and you focus on that and you try to resolve that one thing. And obviously that game had a lot of different actions. There is a world where they just feel like, hey, if we didn't fall prey to that bot gank, our early game is a little bit simpler, things get easier, and maybe they try to run it back. But of course, this time around they're on the red side, so they won't be able to completely run it back. Zwyroo once again getting the Nico ban targeted at him. I think it's a target ban. Like, you can call it a general meta ban. I just feel like, really,
I think it's his best champion.
Yeah, I agree. It's just been his best pick.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's given him something that he's able to link up with Jankos incredibly well, have great flash ultimates, and kind of set up the team fights then for Flakked. It gives you a very easy to execute style that Heretics definitely like in their team fights, but it's going to be gone anyway. And now we'll have to see what that last pick was going to be. Is it worth getting rid of the... Well, I was going to say it's here, but Heretics think the Aurelion Sol is the problem, and that's just going to raise the priority here for Nisqy to try and take the Azir off Rick.
Interesting. All right. Okay. Okay, the support arms race has come full circle. You know, EU support players and Rakan, it's a tale as old as time. Does it deserve this high a priority in draft? If we were talking about objective meta strength, I would say no. But in the context of how well players have been performing on it, I understand it. I get it.
And you know what performs well? Into it, Zeri Lulu. We get to go back full circle again. But we got to take these here.
Please never say Zeri Lulu with that much joy ever again.
Take the Zeri. Why? Yeah, you're not going to be... You're not,
Zeri
you're not feeling it?
No,
Zeri Lulu. I feel like I'm in like one of those fake advertisements from the States where you got to like big up everything. It's like...
Oh, I missed the super hyped.
Yeah.
Are you looking for thrills? There's no thrills. There's no thrills.
Are you looking for thrills? Here's our insurance. It's just like, wait, what?
What do they farm at the state? Nobody knows. Anyway, Xayah, Rakan. Makes a lot of sense here, of course. Limits the impact of Vi in this game, but with Nautilus already banned away. Premier point-and-click CC options are slowly but surely disappearing. I wonder if that's going to force SK to grab one of their own, but their preferred point-and-click CC is obviously the Maokai. Instead, however, the Sejuani.
Yeah, I was curious what the plan was going to be, because we definitely saw yesterday that people were still willing to bring out things like Karma. I thought she'd been a bit gutted, but was still able to perform relatively well into getting push in mid and being able to set up for playing around an AD carry like Xayah, but not going to be the case this time around. They may get it in the next rotation unless it's banned away. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Lulu coming through here, but no, going to be the Maokai instead, trying to match the jungle pressure. And it feels like Heretics have basically gone, you know what, we really liked what you had last game. I think we're going to try it out ourselves.
Yeah, we like that. That looked, but we should have ordered that, actually. The soup, terrible. The steak looks pretty good. So Heretics going for the steak. I am wondering, though, with SK Gaming, you have the Xayah, relatively safe bot laner. And now instead of taking the Maokai, you took the Sejuani. So I wonder if this is heralding a more top-side focus or a potential melee counter pick in mid lane as the Sylas is banned away. So clearly Team Heretics have sussed that out. Don't want to give Sejuani any melee pairings that could work well.
I'm curious if they're thinking of maybe even going for something like Jace into mid lane, so you can try and have at least that melee aspect to it, and then try and go for a rumble or something in that top lane. You've got good setup with the lockdown from Sejuani and Dossier, where you could lean into that if you really wanted to. Even just the fact that you have the long range aspects to deal with Maokai when he goes for an engage is kind of nice, but that's exactly what the game plan is going to be. I still think, like, unfortunately, well, the Analyst is going to be gone. Maybe we just get the Nautilus ban as well, but I personally, oh, Nautilus is already gone, but I think personally, like, I know I hate myself for saying it, but Lulu just fits really well here for
Stop saying it, please. Don't.
I'm manifesting.
Don't manifest Lulu.
Putting it out into the world.
Literally last time you did
back.
this, you're like, this team has struggles with this, and they like did exactly what you said in our cast 2 days ago now. I don't need that. We manifest something else. Manifest something crazy. So manifest Camille. Maybe not actually in the context of the Xayah on the enemy team, but you know, just something not Lulu is all I ask, Rob. But the Jace will be taken away. So Team Heretics have the exact same read that you do. The other melee champions that come to mind here, Yone, not my favorite option. Obviously, Jackie's one who likes it a decent amount, but Zeri notoriously a tough champion to lock down. They do have really good CC pairing with it, and it does fit that role of a melee champion to synergize with Sejuani.
I think at this stage you're kind of bypassing this and you're just going, look, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to try and play for control mage. I could be a quirky angle if you really want to or something along those lines. Bard on the opposite side could be an option, but I was going to say, the reason I don't like it is because Xayah can just ult over it, and there's so many people that have a lot of mobility. You don't really get a huge amount of value out of the Bard ults here, so Trymbi definitely going to have to be on point with them. I just don't know if it's going to be the easiest of times for him.
Okay, what is the option here for SK? We'll be forced to blind pick talk
sense.
to Talia. There you go. Some mobility. Can maybe try and outmatch these here. Some ways to limit the potential playmaking. But it is a relatively immobile champion into the Bard, so that does make the pick feel a little bit more valuable on the side of Team Heretics. But the final pick, the counter pick for top side for Wunder.
Rek'Sai? Is that the...
Yeah, Rek'Sai. I mean, it's actually so hard. Because if you pick Rek'Sai, it's like you're never killing the Xayah with ult, probably.
I think the idea is that then you have one thing she has to dodge. It's either Bard or maybe the Rek'Sai. So one of them, is going to have to go forward.
Eventually, you will hit
something
Xayah.
is going to hit
Something will
Xayah.
hit the Xayah. All right, I like that. Overload the Xayah. She can only dodge one of the mini CC tools present on the side of Team Heretics. But Xayah Rakan, obviously classic bot lane. A lot of playmaking here. The Sejuani. You also have this nice, the Talia setups as well. So some good tools for SK Gaming to be really proactive early on. The bot lane for Team Heretics is the big question, the big focus for me, because Jankos isn't under the same pressure that he was on Vi. You have a really great scaling jungler. I need to see what Trymbi and FLICKR are going to do.
The thing is, though, this is kind of what we're calling out for Heretics to go back to is roaming support for Trymbi. You have the Zeri, you're able to leave Flakked alone. He'll be fine, relatively speaking, until you really hit 6 for Dawson stuff in that bot lane. So Trymbi will get the opportunity to get out and roam and start to work with Jankos. And I think that's more than likely where we're going to see a lot of pressure towards Nisqy, trying to burden this Talia with having to burn flash. Then you get the repeat gank at level 6. Start to set up control through mid, so that then you're able to get access to early objectives. And this is where Heretics have been most successful. And I'm curious if that's what we're going to get here again. Go back to that old game plan that worked so well for them, that put them so high in the standings coming into our playoffs.
Will they be able to make it work? A lot of pressure on them. Pressure on Trymbi after a frustrating game 1. The Bard, the range support. The option that should allow them to roam, that should allow them to win lane. Let's see if they can make it happen. Game 2, match point for SK. Will we get a third? We talked earlier, we said 6 games today. Bangers, close, tense games. Game 1, tense at a few moments. I think maybe not as close as many fans would have liked. Unless you're an SK fan, of course, you're probably pretty happy about how close that one was. Furious pings on the bottom side of the map, as well as the top side. And some all chatting. What they're saying, who knows?
Yeah, I don't have the logins that Betty does, so I can never tell.
I probably do, but it distracts me,
That's fair.
And I'm like, NA already did it, so it's kind of cringe if we do it now. We don't, They've got a Yappa. Do we need a Yappa? I don't know, We're above that. We're refined. We're not above that.
We're not refined.
Wunder literally opened a ping window and said, "What is going on?"
Yeah, we get creative with it. We don't even use the
I don't need all chat. I can just break
my
my rules
emotions.
and probably be fined or otherwise punished because you're definitely not supposed to do that. But gotta do what you gotta do for the banter. Presumably, Wunder going to be pretty comfortable in this topside matchup, just because of the sheer amount quantity of sustain. Normally irrelevant on this Renekton. One of the big strengths he has is his own sustain. Might be able to out-damage the Rek'Sai in a lot of trades, but yeah, Rek'Sai very strong on this patch. Hopefully we'll get tuned down a bit before MSI.
So I think we're just going to see general normal pathing as we come through. Nice level one here. That's getting a good amount of chunks back though. I try to play aggressive on the wave because realistically the longer range for Trymbi and Flakked means that they'll be able to get control here most of the time.
Nice
It's good
stun.
fun.
Very good. It's also really tough to outtrade a Bard lane level 1 because Bard essentially has 2 spells between the passive and the Q. Yeah, they've hit the damage a lot over the patches, but still pretty powerful. So the fact that DOS is able to find that window, that Exakick is able to empower there with the ZW does make things work. Is once again some bot side focus. I thought with Sejuani maybe we would see more pathing to top, but maybe there's a reset here on the third camp, or perhaps Isma's just going to try to subvert expectations and show his face in bottom lane.
DOS did start with Sweeper though, so already trying to clear out the vision. This feels like something that they already tried to set up. So Isma going to try and bypass that. Jankos won't quite spot them, but should be able to cover mid as Jankos. That looks like where he wants to put his pressure.
Ships in the night, and
Nisqy.
Nisqy has no idea. Immediate flash out, push back under the tower. Jankos knows he can't afford to stick around. The risk of getting pushed back is too high. Isma now wants to try to convert this, but is not willing to burn a flash of his own. Overall, that's pretty great from the side of Team Heretics. As long as they can still protect their top side jungle, that's a hugely positive play.
I wasn't sure if Isma was going to just launch the Q at Jankos and basically say, hey, look, one of us is going to have to flash. If Isma flashes, he can get the kill on Jankos with the setup from Nisqy because the flick back wasn't used. Or Jankos has to burn his flash, kind of mind game him a little bit, but Isma is spots at Jankos. Relevant has push in top. So this red buff will belong to Isma.
Immediate recall from Jankos. He knows he cannot afford to stick around here. Isma just going to pick that one up. So essentially, Nisqy's flash traded for the red buff of Team Heretics. As long as they can capitalize on that flash being down in the next 5 minutes, this will be really good for Team Heretics. But in the meantime, Isma obviously going to be happy to have a small jungle lead.
DOS trying to catch Trymbi as he starts to move, so DOS moving up to ensure that his push can come through as Isma was securing red buff, because Nisqy doesn't really have the mana that he needs, and okay.
Flick back, Zwyroo forced to flash away, and well, there goes that flash advantage. Really just wanted to fight on the wave, did not want to let them crash that one, but a bit too keen. Trading the flash, absolutely not worth it, especially because DOS didn't even use his.
Zwyroo completely misjudged there. Bit of a mistake. It means that he will get to reset both mid laners with TP back in, but the sports were there to try and help, and now Trymbi going to try and catch Exakick. Just a little bit of a love tap as he goes.
Yep. Nice pull back to get the root. Trymbi forced to flash as well. SK are getting so many positive summoner spell advantages right now. Flash and TP down for Zwyroo. Nisqy's, of course, are down as well, but you've also gotten Trymbi's flash. And mid should have just been at a disadvantage, but just a few moments of overconfidence from the side of Team Heretics, really punishing them.
And as well, you still have all this gold to pick up on the top side and experience to pick up for Isma in his own jungle. So he's going to be able to reset and immediately move back down to spot lane. Now, Trymbi, flashless. DOS has his own flash, so can close a lot of that gap. Should be able to set up nicely for him.
Wunder extending this trade. Is forced to back away now. Relevant, good thinking. As long as obviously his Rek'Sai doesn't
Jankos on ward.
Get away. There it is, Jankos on vision. Should just get run down here. That's the final stun now coming up. Nisqy looking to pick up the kill. An extra little bit of movement speed as Zwyroo's ready to block the threaded volley, and Jankos is going to make it out.
Zwyroo in the mid lane, making sure that Jankos doesn't go down. Managing to just barely cover it. A phase rush on both junglers. I thought they were to catch each other.
Relevant's level 6. Wunder needs to back away, but now that he's away from the tower, Relevant wants to follow up. Luckily for Wunder, the first slice doesn't connect and won't get the dice recast. We'll just try to cut the wave here and delay the recall. Oh, this is so obnoxious from Irrelevant.
This is obnoxious from SK across the board. Nothing netting kills, but so many advantages across the board. Jankos flash, Zwyroo flash, Trymbi's flash, Wunder pushed off tower. Now picking up the Void Grubs from themselves where Jankos is in a position to contest. SK are dictating the pace of this early game massively and getting a ton of advantages out of it.
Here, we'll see when level 6 comes around if things get a little bit easier. Obviously, Wunder now has his, Zwyroo has his as well, but with Jankos at such a deficit, it's really hard to make plays on the map. Isma's, you know, getting these 3 grubs uncontested because of the action that happened mid lane, as well as Irrelevant just building a pretty big individual lead on the top side of the map. That 300 gold is entirely from his own skill in the matchup. This is Wunder's counter pick.
And for SK, it definitely feels like they came in prepared for what Heretics wants to do. As you say, like Irrelevant controlling top, but when you look at the bottom side of the map, it's great vision control around mid lane. We talked about Trymbi trying to roam to that mid lane to get control there, but honestly, SK have defended it incredibly well. And now Heretics, they will get the dragon. This was always going to be the trade-off for the Void Grubs on that top side, especially since you kind of needed to reset for Isma. But for SK, it's like a small little bit of opportunity given over to Heretics, but you're still relatively fine with this.
Isma? Okay, Smite not quite precise there. Isma going to find the stun up onto Jankos. Exakick now coming in. How many more cooldowns are left? Trymbi, Flakked, Jankos all caught in the pit. Magical Journey can take them out to safety, but Exakick is clean on the feather pullback. Flakked running for his life as Doss tries to find the continuation of the play, but no, Zwyroo is here, and down goes Nisqy.
And all that good play is just wiped away. SK, there was no need for that. Isma, there was no need to try and go into that pit. You had the trade-off, and at that stage, you've so much lockup to follow through thanks to Jankos that you're never going to be able to get back out of there. And then the overcommit as well. Zwyroo knocks Nisqy off of the ultimate with his own Divine, or the own Emperor's Divide. And then Exakick sure gets one, but Nisqy's now left in no man's land, trying to fight against so many different members. Exakick stuck in the pit, has to take the portal out himself. And it's 2 quick kills and Dragon that goes across, whereas it could have just been the trade on map state for SK.
That was not a good deal overall. Yes, they get both sums from Flakked, and that is something in the plays to come, but now Flakked's 2-0. The coal from Exakick not going to be enough to balance out the gold discrepancy this time around. Now more pressure on Irrelevant to continue to extend his laning lead, which isn't going to be easier now that you're getting the early healing reduction coming in from Rek'Sai. Little things that make this matchup so much easier.
And this is the thing for SK is you keep over-investing things to try and salvage the play. So Nisqy invests his ultimate to try and make the play happen. But now it means that you can actually try and play off of, remember Trymbi's ultimate being down in bot lane? Oh, you could have actually tried to punish that with Nisqy having control over mid, but now you're not able to. And then Nisqy trying to roam top to punish Wunder.
Wunder has stayed for quite some time, and the flickback's not going to connect. It's a little bit too slippery. So Nisqy spends his mid prio to try to make that play happen. Won't really amount to too much whatsoever. Allows Zwyroo to get the push here. How does he take his time? What does he do with this time? Is it just a reset, or is he going to fight for a bit of vision? Luckily for SK, they did have a bit of control. Zwyroo will just clear this out, and now you can see Doss moving up to try to make sure that they understand where Zwyroo is. He will show on the wave here, and the rest of SK will be relatively confident they can step up if they need to.
Word spots Isma, so Wunder should just back away. Just gonna get a bit of poked out to keep the vision on him, but honestly I think you could have invested time there from Zwyroo and Jankos into that bottom side of the map, played off the wave state that has slowly been accruing there for Flakked, but not gonna be the case. Wunder
funnel forward. That's the Dominus now used. A lot of upfront damage onto Wunder. Knockup is there. He has to flash back to safety. Isma on the way in. How much is he willing to throw out here? Ulti not going to get used, and both sides just going to back away, but Wunder has his ultimate. That said, he traded Irrelevant's ult for his flash. Overall, not a deal he wanted to make.
Huge sidestep from Irrelevant in that play. It means that he dodges the knockup coming through from Wunder, and he's able to then turn it around, getting that full damage load off. So Wunder not happy about that at all. Jankos could end up losing the scuttle here as well to Isma. So again, Heretics got some advantage from that bot side play, but haven't really been able to shut down SK, still controlling a lot of this early stages.
Nisqy again. Nice flick back, good damage on the Zwyroo. Zwyroo going for the pushback though, and Jankos is here immediately to follow up. The Azir uncontested, allowed to lay down these soldiers and try to get a bit of damage down too. Nice root onto Nisqy, but neither of them do any damage. That does appear to be the problem. The rest of the team now sprinting to support, and that might do it. Nisqy not quite able to get the kill. Good lockdown from Trymbi, forcing out the ult. Blast Cone out to safety. Second rotation not quite enough to kill Jankos. Second time this game he has walked away on a blink and Hellfire.
And now, with everyone from Heretics moving up to try and cover the play, SK just get to zone Flakked off the turret, and now get the turret on bot side, or at least a lot of the plates on bot side for themselves as well. So, I mean, again, Heretics just not quite being able to find the success when it comes to abilities hitting and being able to turn these plays in their favor.
Now we take a look back. The initial setup, again, you see some solid early damage with Zwyroo, has his jungler there. They see Isma coming in, but the upfront burst from Zwyroo looks okay, and now here's the moment where you realize you don't have any items, and all of your cooldowns are gone.
It's also Nisqy, or Jankos ends up knocking Nisqy off of the summoned soldier from Zwyroo, so you don't end up getting the value out of that. Now Nisqy with the good flash as well. That's just unfortunate for Trymbi, but just a little bit of miscommunication between Jankos and Zwyroo on the play means you don't really get that soldier damage, which is, with the W Max Azir, a huge amount of where your damage is situated. So, unfortunate there for Heretics. Trymbi now spots out DOS, but this is just push mid in to get a ton of vision control on bot side, because they really want to try and put focus onto this bot lane tower, or at least allowing Exakick to punish him bot lane. Like, he's 500 gold ahead, he's massive.
Isma, 1-2-3, not quite going to get the fourth. Jankos going for a bit of a pushback here. Both sides fighting just for push prio, fighting for control of the mid lane. Zwyroo level 9 now. So much easier for him to try and get control of this one.
Cole just popped for Exakick in the bot lane as well, so that's why SK, at least the moment, just trying to establish vision and give Exakick a chance to reset and actually spend that gold. You can see Static Shiv already picked up for Flakked as well, so he's going to be able to move over. And Heretics trying to play off that advantage where Exakick hasn't reset to spend the extra gold that he has. So happy enough now for Heretics to take it, and SK was just trading the top side.
Second Drake though for Team Heretics, an angle to bring this one back. Okay, close. Good read from Trymbi, but not quite able to connect there.
Tried the ultimate push 1, knocks behind push 2, but just a little bit too late. We'll be able to get at least some plate damage onto that bottom side as Nisqy spots out. Zwyroo trying to check his face into this void grub area.
But right now they just need to secure the rest of these grubs. Renata already doing a very good job of holding on to prio on the top side, irrelevant. Clutch in game 1, replicating that performance here in game 2, building this pretty sizable individual advantage. Again, 0-0-0. This is entirely, it's not about kills, individual laning performance. Already has the Eclipse completed up against, you know, defensive itemization from Rek'Sai, which is quite standard.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see how both teams really want to crack open this game, because it feels like for Heretics, they're still trying to play heavily around this mid lane. And I think partly it's to defend Nisqy being able to get control into bot side push, but because Trymbi's so consistently moving towards the mid lane, it's just opening up for Exakick to get push on bot side and start to tickle away at this bot side turret, and you're not really getting anything back. Jankos now in a decent position, but look at where the map is, or the lane is for Zwyroo. He's not able to actually come into this bot side play, and now Trymbi gone means DOS can go.
Yeah, and I think the timing here from SK have been much better. Look at their tower, 4 plates up, 1 plate left for Flakked. Clearly, Trymbi has been leading the lane much more, but the disadvantage here is that SK have been the ones to push their own lead forward. He's behind a kill, Exakick versus Flakked, but he's up in CS, he's up in gold. Some of that is the coal that he already sold, but a lot of that is just the tower plates, just the pressure that they've been putting down and how well he's been performing essentially in the 1v1.
And it feels again like yes, Heretics are trying to make plays happen, but they're just not able to work together to finally secure something in their favor. SK back out into the map. Rift Herald is up and available. They can move into that position. But if SK continue to control the game like this, it's kind of just heartbreaking for Heretics. It was SK last split who ended up knocking them out in the playoff scenario. And again, we're seeing a Heretics now potentially falling further behind to SK in what Zwyroo already kind of called was the 2-0 character growth for them.
Yeah, I mean, calling your shots, certainly respectable. But you said it for Team Heretics, right? I mean, the most tumultuous offseason we've seen in a long time. Heard it from the staffs themselves, right? They made 1 roster swap immediately. That was Trymbi. Things were still rough. Then they brought in Zwyroo. All of this happening with less than a week or about a week worth of scrims before the season started. And it worked out well. Again, first in regular season, or fighting for first, excuse me, in regular season. 6-3 at the end of the day, much better score overall. But if they fall out 7th, 8th again, nobody cares. Flakked, though, trying to find the punish on the bot side with the support of Jankos. Irrelevant, very powerful, however. They're not even going to get his flash, just the ultimate. In the meantime, Isma has taken the Herald. Remember, they have 6 grub stacks, so this could be quite devastating as now SK fishing for the play. In the meantime, Wunder going to be in trouble here. Is he going to get a chance to ult? Will at least be able to tunnel out to safety. DOS's health bar blinking. Zwyroo TP force, and SK just continue to build these small advantages. And now, because Azir is topside, it's an easy collapse on mid, but Trymbi is there. Not quite in time. Will delay the tower getting pushed out, but doesn't deny the charge.
TP behind, though. That's going to be the Rek'Sai.
Rek'Sai, Nisqy now trying to escape. Isma likely to just get sacrificed here, but SK wants to fall. Flick back onto 2 is big. DOS immediately punishes. Rek'Sai stunned forever, cannot even ult. Exakick sees the blood in the water, blood in his eyes. He's just stepping up, and Trymbi has to run. Flakked on the retreat, and again, SK find the play. Flash forward from Nisqy, flash out from Flakked. Team Heretics get nothing.
A shift boss could come through for SK as well with the relevant already shoving in. He's just going to try and look for a bit of chip damage, but great fight from SK and brilliant turnaround onto Heretics. They thought they had an angle with Wunder's TP, but it felt like a bit of a Hail Mary. They just couldn't quite get themselves all situated on the same page. Nisqy using that ultimate to at least try and push off members, but look at where Heretics are. Trymbi's way back. Flakked isn't even in position. He's hitting the wave because he knows it's too late. The front line from Heretics dissipates, and then Trymbi steps up. There was just no way Heretics were ever going to get multiple members on the same page, and especially when you just saw SK leaving topside, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go and cover the hero play mid.
And I think we were critical of SK for being a team that overcommits to plays where they don't need to. But Team Heretics are falling into that same pattern of play where that was just your front line. You had no business stepping that far up. None of your damage dealers were there. Your support wasn't even there. And yeah, it's a clutch escape from Nisqy on the wall, but I think the most you can hope for at that point is that, you know, you force the ulti, you waste the TP, is maybe how it's going to be feel, but at least you walk away without losing another member. Good news. There's always a bit of good news for Team Heretics. There's 2 items on the Zeri. They're scaling up. They're getting a bit more comfortable as they get later into this game. And it's not quite the easy scaling of the Azir for Nisqy, but still, SK have full control on the bottom side, and Team Heretics are getting pushed out of their own jungle.
Wunder has no TP and had to go topside to catch that massive wave that Nisqy just shoved in, so Dragon going to be secured here by SK. Heretics could look for a late fight or maybe a pick on Nisqy.
Ulti is good from Trymbi. Immediate knockup should come out. No way to get out of this one. Nisqy a dead man standing. Dragon traded for the pick. Nice bit of proactivity from Team Heretics. They want to shift this into the mid lane push, but they only have that single cannon minion, so there's nothing they can get.
Nisqy's dying breath was to kill that wave. Just about able to get the stone throw out to finish off the backline, so there was nothing that you could get to actually try and take the mid lane tower. Another wave will set up here, but Exakick is now in position to defend, so even though Nisqy died, still Dragon, and at least you get nothing objective-wise that goes the way of Heretics.
Yeah. It was a rough road for Heretics in this game. At this point, you know, tooth and nail, scrape through this one, do whatever you can to bring it back in your favor, to fight on even footing and pray for a game 3. Certainly a hard road. Zeri is powerful, and the lockup tools on the side of Team Heretics aren't as reliable as many teams say they need to be against a champion like Zeri. Most teams are drafting point and click solely because of Zeri. What she provides, how difficult it is for her to be shut down in these late game fights. And that's a lot of pressure to put on Flakked, but it's going to be what it takes.
Lulu.
Stop it. Don't do this. I can't. If we go to MSI and there is a Lulu, Rob, I'm putting this on you. I don't want it.
There's definitely going to be a Lulu at some stage.
I hate it in ARAM. I hate it on Summoner's Rift. If they bring back Twisted Tree Line, I'll hate it there too. Arena, I hate it everywhere.
Lulu with exhaust just gives you no throwbacks from ARAM.
Yep, don't like it. That said, it's a Bard, which you know I'm a pretty big fan of. And Trymbi, there are, you know, I think he can just keep trying to ult Nisqy. Really easy pick if you're on the same screen. There's a bit of travel time, obviously, on the Tempered Fate, but if SK are ever setting up and Team Heretics have the vision, Nisqy gets a little too aggressive in trying to find a flank. There's a lot of room for good picks with this champion.
I think that's kind of where you've got to start cutting corners here as Heretics to find some moment to do it. And it feels like, as you say, a lot of it is going to be on Trymbi, and I think it's going to be something like, hey, we're going to tunnel to cut across the map very quickly and try and make a pick onto these side lanes, which is why we're seeing both Wunder and Zwyroo trying to push out these objectives. But the problem is you want something with a very long extended lane, so realistically you have to try and threaten onto bot side, but it's going to be irrelevant who's down there, and with Flash and with his slice and dice as well, it's going to make it difficult to try and lock him down. And now with Baron on the map as well, if you invest that many resources down to the bottom side, it's just so difficult to go for. So they need some way of getting mid control here, but with everyone on SK back out on the map, it's kind of impossible.
No. In the bot lane though, Steric's Gauge going to be the choice for Irrelevant, itemizing more for the team fight maybe than for the 1v1, getting the extra tenacity, the extra shield. It does mean that Wunder's having a much better time. Mostly just because he doesn't take damage. He has so much healing. Like, it's not going to be able to bully Renekton out, I think, but he will at least, you know, not be losing a lot of the 1v1s. Still going to give that respect over to Irrelevant because he doesn't have perfect information on where everyone is. Wants to reset, wants to be there for the topside play if it happens.
They kind of know where SK is at the moment, at least for Heretics. They just tried to force their way in onto this top side. They saw Talia push in top and then try and group. And it's kind of this push back and forth as you see Zwyroo now on top side. Okay, SK start to get a little bit more confident. Feel like they can start to play aggressive. But once Zwyroo has that push in top, then they have to start backing away. Isma not really in position though, so it's going to be a little bit quieter on that top end.
It's not quite a wet noodle fight because they're not tanks, but this is about as close to tank v tank you can get into. You know, it's not Orange Scion, but it's close. They just look, it's like also, a reskinned Orange Scion map.
It's also a little bit of irrelevant, just kind of stop hitting yourself when you've got Thornmail there, where it's like, you end up doing a little bit of that reflected damage, so it's not quite the same, you know?
Yeah. This is like the mom we have Mundo at home kind of pick. Except better.
He's
so
still
I don't know.
yeah.
This is like, this is, you know, they rebuilt Mundo, but better.
The early game version of Mundo.
Yeah, Mundo with mobility. Ooh, very scary. Actually, very scary. SK?
That's a GB champ if I've ever seen.
The less room there is for him to dash, the less he has to think about. Bob, it makes sense. I understand. That's why I only play melee carries. I don't have to think about positioning and range. I just need to be in melee range. One range. Always.
All range.
In or out. There's only 2 options. There's no degrees. All right, well, SK, they're going to let top wave just kind of settle while they try to push in and get some control on the bottom side of the map, hoping to get third Drake. Clearly not comfortable to just start the Baron. Again, anytime Azir is in the game, you kind of have to respect the potential for the enemy team to force an objective, but with Dragon only 13 or 15 seconds away, Team Heretics, who have been kind of reticent to take any more aggressive moves, I doubt they'll start the Baron here.
I think they're just going to try and clear out the vision, threatness, because you do have Flakked, who's got a decent amount of damage, and Azir. Leandry's could end up doing it, but with that ward now down, honestly, I kind of feel like you just started, or at least look for the base in, but they're so separated, and with Zwyroo showing on top wave, looks like they're just going to give it instead for the tower, but I think you could play for pick with Trymbi as you try to retake vision here as SK.
Well, they're going to know now, as they stay the indicator, the multiple members were committed to the objective. Tempered Fate goes wide, and DOS now wants to re-engage. Flashback from Wunder to kick things off. Bit of a slow fight. Both sides walking away, but Azir keeping the pressure up. Nisqy now ulting to cover on the top side of the map. Zwyroo can just retreat. Nisqy's isolated to the side and doesn't have any mobility tools. Rather than collapsing on the rest of SK, they're really focusing a lot of resources. DOS sees what he thinks is a window of opportunity, but the root's going to be there. The follow-up from Team Heretics, however, is not. Wunder continuing to step up. They've got full access to the Baron, but they don't have mid-prio. It's just a bit of a messy exchange.
They should have just pulled the trigger. As you say, you called it perfectly, Drakos. Nisqy had no way to try and get back into that fight. If you just pull the trigger on DOS and everyone as they try to go for the engage, you can get out. Now, Heretics kind of realize that with everything gone, maybe they can look for the turn here as Zwyroo.
But now it's Wunder who's isolated off to the side. What's back on from Nisqy? A bit more room for Team Heretics to step up if they want. Instead, they're just going to bet it all on a 50-50. Stun on Exakick is big, though. They're going to try to burst him down. Feathers fly. Flakked looking for the sidestep. It's all out of the hand of Zwyroo with the 3-man pullback. Hand delivered to his AD carry. In goes Wunder. And into the blink of an eye, the rookie mid laner carries all these former champions through the fight.
Zwyroo swoops into the back line and shove Exakick into the waiting hands of Heretics. Heretics knew they had the ult economy advantage, knew that they could take this fight, and Exakick takes that step just too far forward. Immediately, Jankos goes onto him, locks him up, but watch as he goes up in the air, tries to flash away, but Zwyroo around the corner, flash forward, and it sends everyone on Heretics into, or on SK into Heretics. Really well played by the rookie mid laner.
And that's the kind of fight that inspires confidence for Team Heretics. Clutch stun at the start for Trymbi to force out the ult early. Zwyroo immediately capitalizing. They saw Nisqy use the Unraveled Earth. There is no minefield to stop that mobility. And of course, Flakked doing what AD carries do, playing cleanup. Heroic effort. If they lose that, the game is over. Their season is over. But they took the bold bet. They took the risky bet, and it pays off.
And now you've got 3 items onto Flakked. You've got control of the map for Heretics. And as they can start to now pick up some of the standing gold in the bot side as well, start to put pressure on towards the tier 2, they shouldn't be in a good spot. DOS doesn't realize he's on a ward though. Trying to see if he can sneak in behind the back of Heretics, but they can just take the fight onto the tier 2 bot if they want to.
And again, this is where the Zeri gets really terrifying. We talk about it so much. Point and click CC. That's why we see so many buys, so many Nautiluses. The engage, the setup is there. Zwyroo just glides out to safety, not going to be a big deal. Meanwhile, Zeri, Flakked on the bottom side, just pushing in, breaking down that tower. Nisqy going to be forced to respond. Irrelevant, I think, let down a little bit by his team at some of these greater decisions. Individually has been putting work in, breaking down this tower in isolation, but Wunder, on the back of that play, with all the gold he got, is now able to do enough damage in the 1v1 to help Flakked pick up that kill. Does slow down the Baron, crucially. Does limit the amount of waves the Team Heretics have to play on while they have this buff. But the gold, now 2K in Team Heretics' favor. This is a fantastic spot for them to be.
Yeah, they won't be able to get any, well, maybe get one wave onto this top side turret if they really want to, or even onto mid lane, but I'm curious how much pressure they want to try and put down. You do have ultimates that you could use to zone SK off, and Zwyroo!
Pushback is good. Nisqy, Unraveled Earth. Nice knockback to make sure Zwyroo's stunned up. Doss immediately there to follow. Zwyroo needs to back away. He needs to get out to safety. Trymbi gonna try to peel as best he can with the Bard. Zwyroo's still living. Crucially, Cat's coming in. Not quite gonna connect on Nisqy as he ults out to safety. All of Team Heretics banding together to make sure their mid laner does not get picked off.
Zwyroo's TP to come back into it. Wunder's managed to take the top tier too, is now going to start putting pressure here to zone SK off. That cannon minion doing work onto this. Heretics looking to siege down SK and force them back, force them into that game 3.
Again, you lose here, your season is over. 10 weeks. You watch MSI, we come back for summer. You hope they come back stronger, but Team Heretics not done yet. In this game, at this stage, yeah, it's a gold lead, but more just looking at the items, looking at the champions, the Azir, the Zeri, it's so much easier for them to fight. There's a lot of fantastic engage tools between the Rakan and the Sejuani on the opposite side, but you've got Jankos on this Maokai who can just stop most engages in their tracks.
Heretics are feeling like this is the final straw. You can see the elixir in Flakked's inventory. They know that if they can win this fight, chances are this is the one that closes out the game. They can crack open the base. An Exakick is alone in mid lane. Heretics want to try and zone him away from this dragon.
Got some teammates to cover. Keep your eyes on the Tempered Fate from Trymbi. Nisqy, no flash. There's an opportunity to pick him off. Feathers fly already, and immediately they go on Exakick. Easy pick off. Trymbi with the follow. They can take the jungler out of the equation. Q timing is good from Trymbi, and Isma will get knocked back. Waves being cleared by Nisqy. The second he sees that pick goes down, he knows all that matters is slowing down the push, buying time for the respawns to come through. Dosh dashing out. Wunder not going to commit for the flash knockup quite yet, but he does have access to it if he needs to. Zwyroo stepping up. Trymbi not going to find the binding, but all of Team Heretics doing what they can to protect this wave, to push it, to break open the base. 2 members down, 19 seconds, 18 and counting on Exakick. The only chance they have in the fight if they can have their AD carry back up and alive, but Team Heretics know what they came for. One inhibitor getting knocked down. Meanwhile, 3 other members in the mid lane breaking down that tower. A second inhibitor likely to follow.
Flash on both Wunder and Jankos, so SK can't even approach because they could immediately get turned on. Nisqy taking that risk just to give a little bit of a back answer to Heretics, but they're going to fall back to the dragon, pick that one up, the base in tatters, and just like that, Heretics, they look like they've found the success they need.
Pings under the dragon from SK.
They can't. There's no way.
They don't have the vision. They don't have a TP ward to really play off of. They can see Wunder in the brush, but it's a difficult pick to make happen. He's just so tanky. So for now, SK instead going to set their sights on the top side of the map, lay down some vision, maybe hope to make a fast play, pick off a member on the side of Team Heretics. Team Heretics, while they're so close to victory, they are not there yet, and we've seen both of these teams throw leads away.
As I say, SK's heading up for the pick, but there's no real damage that's there. They're going to try and play out the top wave because they know that's what Heretics want to try and go for. Push in top while you've got the super creeps in mid and bot to get that last inhibitor turret, but only going to shove that wave in a little bit. And you still got 55 seconds until Baron. Heretics should be able to deal with it. They're going to try and pick Flakked. There's the TP.
Flakked dashing over the wall. TP now coming in. Doss on the chase. Dash to Irrelevant. Dash again. W forward. He's been caught with a Tempered Fate. Buys a second for Flakked, and it's all he needs. Immediate ulti. Now turning the fight back on Irrelevant. The Crocodile getting cut down as Wunder is on a killing spree. Trymbi on the chase. A magical journey now forward. Feathers fly from Exakick, but Jankos just standing behind, ready to knock him back into the waiting arms of Zyros. Exakick flashing out to safety. It's all eyes on the Zeri, but Flakked is already here. Lightning in his veins. Kills left and right. Nisqy, the last hope for SK, but Talia is not enough. Isma as well, just trying to clear this one out, but the push in the base is there. As if the fight before wasn't enough, why don't we just pan over and see the MVP of this game at work? Zwyroo in the Baron pit. Zwyroo in the base. He keeps Team Heretics alive.
when Heretics were down, when it looked like they were nearly out, it's the rookie mid laner that makes the plays, that sets up for Flakked with the early lead he had on the Zeri to take us to the game 3, to keep Heretics within touching distance of keeping their split alive.
Not done yet. One more and only one of these teams can move on. Who will end the season top 8 and who will advance to the next round? We'll find out after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Laure, did you steal my Kit Kat?
Welcome everyone to the Kia Tilt Proof Challenge. We're here to see if 4 gamers can stand up to the test.
Dios mío de mi vida.
I think I lost.
I'm so happy that I didn't eat before.
Red Bull gives you wings.